Zan's Paparazzi Jewelry, 24/7 shopping available. 160920 is the code. Show her some love, like she showed us. K&A Custom Crafts on Facebook.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Tips and Tricks for How to Look Good Naked and Why You Should Love Yourself Even If You Don't. I'm Joe Tierney here with Amber Riley. We're here, and I think we're on the final step of Amber's great program, and that's an exciting. We've been through how many are there? There's 8 or 7?
Seven steps.
All right, lucky number 7, and here we go. We're at number 7.
Let me run through them real quick. So step number 1 is breathe.
I was going to ask how your week was first. We'll leave
okay. Sorry. My bad. So it's been I'm learning to be uncomfortable I'm becoming comfortable with taking uncomfortable action. Let's say that. So as I alluded to earlier, I am entering a new realm of learning all things tech I'm trying to launch my actual group coaching program online 100%. So I'm learning a lot of new stuff and it's making me very uncomfortable, but I have a new slogan, and that is that I can do hard things. Partly took that from Glennon Doyle, but I can have faith in myself and trust my abilities.
Well, remember I told you that I love that. Remember I told you I have that sticker. It's over on my desk that I can do hard things. I spoke with the woman Fitz Kohler, who's a marathon, who is actually a runner, and she got breast cancer, and that's actually her slogan. And she has the stickers. I can do hard things. So, I had it on my computer, but I have a new setup. So I love that, and I think I remind myself of that too. So
I actually a Post-it note and up on my bedroom mirror so that I see it like a dozen times a day.
That's perfect. I am actually thinking, and I haven't done it yet, but you reminded me, I'm going to take a picture of it and put it on my screensaver on my phone. I think that's
interesting. I do have a screensaver, but I was told once by a coach that you should change your screensaver every 30 days. I do change mine, but probably like every 90 days, more like it. But they said after 30 days, you become so conditioned to looking at it that you don't actually read what you had wrote on there anymore. Like, because your mind just knows exactly what it is. So you're supposed to change that screensaver. If you're doing it like we're doing, if you're doing it as something to motivate you, you should change it every 30 days.
All right. That's good advice. I'll definitely do that. I think that I just want to say hi, Amy and Justin, the Bozeman siblings are on. So hi guys, thanks for coming in. So, I think I had a pretty decent week. I've been certainly doing a lot more exercising and remember, I think we spoke last week and Randy and I were going to do the virtual hiking, but the hurricane derailed that. So we didn't get to do that, but we do intend to do that hopefully this weekend. So I think that's something that, and we spoke about it if anybody was thinking about doing it, but we talked about typically we hike in a pretty remote area and there isn't any cell service. So just be mindful of that if anybody's going out and doing a virtual hike or any type of exercise, to make sure you're in an area where you can actually communicate with each other. And Justin is saying motivation is the key. I'm not sure if it's motivation. I think, in my opinion, discipline is the key, because we're not always going to be motivated. So for me, I have to force myself to do it. For instance, I got up today and I actually slept through the gym, which I rarely do. I had my phone on mute and I didn't realize it. And I typically don't even need an alarm. I slept through it. But I woke up and I said, instead I'm going to hop on the treadmill for a little bit. I'm not going to do strength training. And I know that, cardio isn't your favorite exercise, but I said, I'm still going to do it. I have access to it and it's too hot outside and I did it. So, and Justin saying he agrees. He's not always motivated.
Let me quote my most favorite mentor, which is Mel Robbins. And she literally says in one of her TED Talks, motivation is crap. Motivation will fail you every time. You're generally only motivated in the beginning of a goal. But what happens on day 4 and 5 and day 30 or 90? You know what I'm saying? You're not always motivated then. So then it's just pure discipline. It's how bad do you want it? And you know what? I heard something interesting the other day. whenever we make a decision and a goal, okay, we don't have to want it 100% every day. Okay. We just have to want it a little bit more than we don't want our current situation. Just 51%. It doesn't have to be 100 every day. It's 100 when we make that decision. You know what I'm saying? It's 100 for a couple days. That's why the gyms are filled at the beginning of January. Everybody makes a decision. You know what I'm saying? And then it trickles off. But it doesn't have to be 100 every day. It just has to be 51%. 1% more than you don't want your current situation.
That's pretty, I've never heard that. I think that's great advice. I think that, and it was interesting. So I do another show about holistic health and on Monday nights, and we were speaking about, what's trending in the world, for instance, of whatever's close to our genre. And for me, I found an article on, do you know James Corden from the Late Late Show, and he was speaking about that. And he had a successful weight loss journey. He's on, the program that he chose is Weight Watchers, and it worked for him. But he said something very similar. He said, I finally just made the decision. He said, I realized that of 15 seasons of shows, I was continuously talking about being on a diet to the audience. And he said, and every January I started something new. He said, but I never finished it. And I just finally made the decision and the realization that it's simply a decision, and I have to adopt the premise that I'm just going to be living like this, eating like this for the rest of my life. And he said, and then finally it clicked for him. And I think that that's such an important, you're right. The decision is so easy. It's the implementation that's difficult.
Right. You're right.
So, all right. So let's do a recap of our 7 steps, and we're going to have to talk about our game plan. We're going to start next week from step 1. So Adam Barber, this is big news. I don't know how this is happening, but I certainly like to know. It's breaking news. So we're going to have to break into the show. Coast to Coast Network is trending worldwide. Or is that an indication that we're gonna have to up our game? So Adam is saying COVID made me put on a lot of weight. I actually gained some weight during COVID too. And
you know what? I have an interesting. I have a thing to be vulnerable about. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I wasn't going to share this. But I went out over the weekend. I went to see my first opera, by the way. It was great. It was fabulous. Anyways, I put on a dress, and let me just say that it was a little tight. So I have also put on weight, and I'm not saying I've put on a lot of weight, but most of my clothes, I have to take to a seamstress. I have a weird shape, like as a female in general, I don't have hips. So everything I have, it has to go to a seamstress. Like I can't buy something off a clothes item, a top maybe, but pants, they all have to, but and dresses. And it was rather tight. So I have put on several pounds. So I'm going to have to start like following religiously my own steps so that I can get this weight to come off. So I'm joining you and Randy.
All right, perfect. That's great. That inspiration, actually. And I think that's I think you bring up a great key, because as you know, I'm also a weight loss coach and a mindset coach. And I lost a little touch of my authenticity this past year. And that's why I'm not aggressively seeking clients. I certainly help anybody who reaches out to me, and I'm doing these shows. But I think that because I'm such a perfectionist, because I'm not at the top of my game, which is my own deficit and a detriment to myself, because you don't have to, coaches don't have to be perfect, but I do feel a responsibility to my clients to ensure that I'm fulfilling my own, I'm following my own creed, not do what I say, and then I'm going to do the complete opposite. So this program is certainly. Yes.
Let me just tell you that from coach to coach, you don't ever have to have it all figured out. You only have to be a couple of steps ahead of them. And sometimes people will resonate with you way more because you're not all the way at the end of the game. So that is kind of why I made that comment and then revealed that I've learned. I used to have this very perfectionist, and I felt like I had to live 100% by the code of everything that I was teaching. And I was miserable. Like you've got to live. I follow an 80-20 rule. Like 80% of the time you've got to live life right. Like if you want to have a healthy life, you got to live life right. If you don't make time for health, you're going to make time for illness. That's just the way it goes. But 20% of the time, life just happens, and you can't beat yourself up over those things, which is what I used to do. So,
I agree.
But also I used to feel like I had to be perfection. Like I'm saying, I couldn't be vulnerable with people and let them know that, I have a slogan that I will guarantee to make you fall in love with the image staring back at you in the mirror. And guys, I had a moment recently where I passed a mirror and I was like, oh shit, I do not like the image staring back at me in the mirror. This is a problem. You know what I'm saying? So, and I know I can get it back, but it's just, we all go through. It doesn't matter if you've already reached your goal, you can always backslide. So that's kind of why I'm getting into that, is that tonight we're doing step 7, which is community. And it doesn't matter, when you make a decision, first of all, let's say you make a decision to lose weight and get healthy. Not everybody in your physical surroundings is going to be on your cheerleading team. It's just not going to happen, because when you decide to take your life to the next level, be that health, finances, whatever it is, you are like holding up a mirror to the other person of, I'm taking my life higher, but they might not necessarily be ready to take that next step.
So I think Adam has a great point. He used to care what people thought about how he looked, and now I just don't care. And I think that I just want to throw that up there, because I'm going to say the greatest piece of advice I ever received, and this wasn't from a coach, it was actually from someone I know intimately in my life, and they told me, gave me the advice that, do not let the opinions of others have power over your life. And it took me a long time to get there. But I think especially for Justin and Amy, her 2 young people, and I commend Adam for learning that young too. I mean, Adam's a young man, but I think that is really the key to liberation in so many regards. I'm going to say this, and I loved how, Adam is so free. He and his family, they posted pictures of their family camping trip, and they just didn't care. They just were having the time of their lives and singing and dancing. And I would be apprehensive to post something like that, me having a couple drinks out, and I loved it. I think that is such a positive impact and influence on the world, especially when they all have young children. I think that's great.
I think that also, I don't think there's a person out there in the world that hasn't gone through or isn't still going through worrying about what other people think. And we still lapse back into it. We start something new and we all of a sudden think about what are other people going to think. You know what I'm saying? So you're right. And I would love to say that I'm past that point in maybe some areas in my life, but it is very liberating when you no longer, for many years, I was not in a good place, and I let the opinions of other people, although not based on accurate information, become my reality. So in that regard, I do. But when I take on new projects or I do new things, I still care about what other people think. So if you got any tips, Adam, on how to circumvent that, please share.
Well, I don't care what irrelevant people to me think. And I certainly consider the opinions of others, but I don't let that derail me anymore. I think that the opinions of others could at one point or another in my life totally make me abandon what I'm pursuing. And I think so many people don't believe in coaching, for example, and that's something to be mindful of. And when I got into this gig, and even the podcasting, remember when we first joined with the Forbes community, and we had to do the live Facebooks. If you could go back in time and look at my initial live Facebooks, nobody would believe that I am actually doing 3 or 4 live programs a week over a variety of genres, because I just could not get out of my own way. And I think that that's proof that there's evolution and you can overcome certain things. So Adam's giving us his advice. Let's see it. He changed when he became a program manager, and now he realizes his job isn't about making friends. It's about my job and having integrity. And I think that that's true, but it's not just professional. I think that it should also be a component of our personal lives. I think that I have a much more fulfilling personal life when I don't consider the opinions of others, particularly when so much of our lives is put on social media, and Facebook is so fake in so many regards. I've seen so many people who are their Facebook families or profiles, and they're so happy. And then, you see that, that's not really reality, I guess.
Well, it's just a highlight reel. That's all you really get on
exactly.
social media is a highlight reel. That's why I like Clubhouse, because it's so authentic. But when you were talking, a quote came to mind. The people that mind won't, wait, what is it? The people that matter won't mind. And the people that mind don't matter. Yeah. So the people that that matter don't mind if you're telling them about your big dreams. And the people that
Agreed.
mind don't matter. So
I
you're
think
always
that you were bringing.
The more you go up in the world, you just expect to have that. That's why community is such a big component, because when you make a decision, you need to align with other people that have made that same decision. Because, for instance, let's say your work community, you decide to lose weight, and you're all are having a potluck, and you're bringing in your lunch every day, and they're like, oh, one meal's not going to hurt you, but you've made a decision that you feel like maybe that would make you backslide. So it only takes one bad apple for the whole cart to go. So you've got to really surround yourself with your community. And I'm not saying to eliminate people from your life, but just know who your tribe is. Know who the people are that you need to get support.
So Adam's making a point. I want to bring his point up because I think, he has a great relationship with his wife, and they look so happy together. When you meet the person, you realize it's also to make them happy. It's not about others. And I love that, because certainly relationships, I always say this, relationships aren't meant to complete us, and they're not meant to make us happy, but they certainly enhance our happiness and enhance our lives. And I think that's, when people say happiness comes from within and you have to be happy on your own, I think that's easily said. That's easier said than done. But in reality is we're not meant to be alone, and people certainly enhance our lives in many respects. But I wanted to go back to a point that you were talking about earlier, and I don't know if we interrupted you when you were, and I want to go back to reasons why I believe that this is true when you have people who try to sabotage your success, because it really shines the spotlight on them, and it makes people uncomfortable who are in your circle, and you're evolving and you're making changes, because it makes them feel
like
it makes them
expected to step up their game, and they don't really want to do that.
Right, because it prompts self-awareness. When you're seeing other people make changes, and when you need to make a healthier change in your own lifestyle, it really prompts self-awareness, and self-awareness and change is uncomfortable for people. So think about how difficult it is for us to change ourselves. And then the expectation, I think that people have the expectation we expected of them, and we don't, of course. We would hope everybody...
It's a lot easier to bring that one person back down to where everybody else is, as opposed to everybody lifting up. You know what I'm saying? There's an animal. God, I cannot think of what animal it is, but if you put them in a group and they got to climb out. So they did this test, and when they started to climb out and reach the top, it would shock them. Well, so after one generation, they took the electrical shock off, but the electrical shock transferred down each generation. And so now whenever the animal would try to climb up, all of the others would pull it back down. Like you weren't even allowed. So it's like, it's a behavioral thing, that it's just easier to stick with the crowd, stick with the tribe, do what everybody else is doing. You're going outside the box.
Okay, so we have some concerning comments in the chat, which I want to bring up. So we have Brandon, I'm saying hello, Brandon, but happiness, what is that? And then we have Randy saying, oh, well, if that's shaming, that's also true, but that's what I wanted to bring up. And Randy saying it's been quite a while for me to experience it, and I think that really the concept of happiness. I think that you have to take a peek at your life, and we can help you with this, and start to think about what it is that you believe would make you happy. What are your goals? And when I took a really hard look, what I thought was making me happy, and all the things that I wanted and achieved, at least professionally and materialistically, and I had the things that I thought I wanted as a young girl growing up, and You think you want the white picket fence and the 2.2 children. And the reality was I got everything that I thought was going to make me happy, and I wasn't happy. And I had many, countless happy moments in my life, but there wasn't I didn't have a pervasive feeling of happiness. And I'm not even sure if I totally have that feeling. I'm still evolving and growing and learning what makes me happy. And I think that that's something that we can talk about, Randy and Brandon. Let's try to figure it out. Maybe that we could talk about that next week. Let's develop a plan for how to uncover people's personal desires and what would make them happy. Because self-love is really the component of that.
I have a couple exercises that I can't remember them step by step right now, so I don't want to kill the exercise, but let me figure those out. I think that would be great for next week. So say what you just said so I can write that down.
All right. Well, Courtney is saying that that's a great idea. I want to uncover what it is, that some exercises that we can help people do to take a peek inside self-awareness and figure out what it is that makes them happy, what really truly prompts them. And I think that one exercise we did, remember the exercise we did, what do you want? I think that's a great one.
That is a good one.
Do that.
But there was another one.
And I'm going to pull this up.
There was another one that when we were doing something else in OPP, I figured it out, and it was business related, but it totally was like what makes you happy type thing. So I'll figure that out and bring it next week.
So Brandon, I did not say 22 children. I said 2.2. 22, that's even a little much for me. Amy saying she wants 12 kids. Yeah, you want 12 until you have one.
Right.
You change your mind pretty quickly. So, so that's funny.
8 to 12 used to be the norm, and then I think it went down to like 2 to 4. So.
So great. So if anybody, I Courtney's saying that's true. So I think that's a great idea. And I think that would be a great segue, because we did say that we were going to speak half of our conversations is about self-love. And we really want to help people develop the skills to find that. And I think that particularly, Randy's saying when he was a teen, he wanted 100 kids. Yeah, that's pretty, that was impressive, Randy. And I think that, you would really need a couple of jobs. That would actually have to be your full-time job. But so I think that that's really a great idea. And I think that when you're unhealthy, and because I've had unhealthy habits and unhealthy lifestyles, and it really was because I was unhappy. And I think that that's what happens. We utilize and we adopt bad habits and behaviors to compensate for the voids and losses that we feel in our life.
Oh, I am thinking of so many things right now for next week. I cannot wait. Oh my goodness. I cannot wait.
Well, we could start. We could start if we have anything good. The what do you want? We want people to be prepared, though. We need them to get some paper and give them
some. So should we? No. We shouldn't tell them anything. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. I keep interrupting you. I'm so sorry.
That's right. And I will tell everybody, our Facebook group is operational and live. I just have to add Amber to it as an admin. So we don't have anything in there yet, but it's ready to go, and we can start to post some ideas. And you guys I'm going to start to invite people into the group, maybe later even tonight. And then we can start to have some interaction in the group and really talk about self-love and what our goals are. And we could really, I don't know if Andy wants to give us an update on his progress and what happens now. What do we do when we still want to talk about community, but after we talk about that, what happens? We go back to step one. Did we refresh? And let's refresh. You said you were going to start out by refreshing us on the first 6 steps, and then we'll talk about 7. We don't want to lose sight of this week.
Yeah, I will recap. I will say I do this on a Clubhouse every Wednesday. I do the 7 steps. So similar to what we're doing now. And that's what we do. We just begin, because you always have different people that join in. I would love to be able to bring out more people if they have more, like as we get in depth, if they have more questions. I don't know if there's the technical side, if we can do that or not. But we just start again. So the 7 steps are, first is breathing. So we don't start off with hitting the gym and, eliminating all of our favorite foods. We start off with breathing. Just let's reset the nervous system. That's your superpower. You have it all the time. Nobody can take it away from you. That's your superpower. The second step is hydrate. Our body is 76% water, and we lose water with every activity that we do and with a lot of the foods that we eat. So not only do we want to eat foods that are very, water, have a lot of water content, but we need to be hydrating. There's many different measurements you can go off of, half your body weight. Roughly, I'm going to tell everybody 3 liters. Like, aim for a gallon if you can do that. I do not start off aiming for a gallon or even 3 liters. If you're drinking 2 8-ounce glasses right now, let's just double that. Okay, just double that. And we don't need to do with any of these steps. Nothing needs to be radical. It can be if you're one of those people and that's the way you work and that's what motivates you, go for it. But small changes is what's going to stick. And we want something, these are all lifestyle things. These are not quick fix. These are lifestyle. We want things that are going to stick. So hydrate, preferably 64 ounces to 3 liters. A gallon is great. I'm not worried about anybody necessarily I'm not saying you can't overconsume water. I'm just not really worried about that at this point in the process. The third step is nourish. So we've got to feed our bodies real food, guys, real food. When you look at the ingredient section, first of all, when you look at a food, if it doesn't come off of a tree or out of the ground, off of a plant, off of an animal, then you got to ask, where the heck is it coming from? Like, where's all this food? If you look at the ingredient section and you cannot pronounce the ingredients in the food list, then it's not a real food. It's made in a lab. Okay. Promise you it's made in the lab. It needs to be unprocessed food. When we process foods, we're actually stripping it of all the nutrients. That's why you see things that say fortified with vitamin D or whatever. Well, they're having to put that in there because their process to get the food to you strips it of all the nutrients. So preferably we want food as close to the source as possible. So off the tree, off the vine, out of the ground. When it comes to meats, I'm not saying vegan, no vegan. I'm not vegan, but I do understand the philosophy that we need to get most of our nutrients from plant-based food sources. However, if you are going to consume meat, then it cannot be the hormone-induced vast sources that we have right now, because, chickens don't really come that fat. You know what I'm saying? When you get in these huge chicken breasts, it's not from it's hormone induced, and we don't want those chemicals in our body. When they keep these animals alive long enough to butcher them. So they don't really care about their health and vitality, but what you eat just ate. So it's not about.
So hold on, Amber, because we have some comments. So I do want to address it. So we have Brandon who's saying, so candy is out, but let's talk about that for a second. We're saying candy is out, but that would be a dramatic transition for somebody to totally eliminate sugar. So how can we ease into that? I know that we've spoken before in the past about 20 to 30 grams of sugar, but I think that these gentlemen probably have many more grams than that. And Ray is saying, and to that point, he's saying his breathing has been okay, but the lack of sugar has been messing with his moods. He's really cranky, and craving for for soda has intensified, and he's been failing with the food portions. So I think that there may be.
How long have you been off of it? For 3 weeks?
Yep, he's saying.
Has the cravings been ongoing the whole time, or is it just all of a sudden hit you? And then
Randy, you're welcome to pop. You're welcome to pop on camera, Randy, if it's easier for you to speak to us.
That would actually be a great idea.
So even if you need a few minutes to spruce yourself up, go ahead and hop into the stream, because we really, and Brandon.
The steps, and then I would love to talk to Randy, because this is something that everybody's going to face. But for one point, when you mentioned the 20 to 30 grams of sugar in a day, those grams of sugar, I'm not talking about fake sugar, or I'm talking about the actual sugar that is in food that you can't avoid, like the sugar content in a sweet potato. That's the sugars I'm talking about. I'm not including any of that other stuff. That's not included in that at all. So yeah, that has to be eliminated. But So we got nourishment as the third step. The fourth step is to exercise, grateful movement. We want to just be happy doing what we can do. We don't have to go to 110. We're just trying to do 1% better than we did the day before, a little bit more than you did the day before. If that's 1 minute on a cardio machine or one extra rep, grateful movement that we can do what we can do. Preferably find an activity that you actually enjoy. I personally like my clients to find an accountability partner and somebody they actually do the activity with. If you find somebody that you genuinely enjoy spending time with you, their time in your eyes is more valuable. You're going to be more likely to show up for that exercise because there's somebody holding you accountable. Then the 1, 2, 3, 4. Fifth step is to detox, cleanse, and declutter. So this is not only our insides, like what are the bad foods that we're still putting in our body? We need to get rid of those. What are the bad habits that we still have that are not helping us get to the next level? But what are the bad relationships? What are the other toxic things in our lives, whether they're habits, relationships that we need to get rid of in order to really take our lives and our health to the next level? And then the sixth step is sleep, rest, and preferably more than 6 hours. Our body has to reset. It has to be recharged, rejuvenated, just like any other major machine or appliance out there. Everything has to be recharged. We're no different. And then the seventh step is community. You've got to have a tribe of people that you can go to that can support you and help you along the journey. You're going to have bad days. You're going to have things come up like, oh my God, I can't kick these cravings. What do I do? You need people to go to remind you of what your vision is, remind you what your dream is, and why sometimes we can do hard things.
So Tim, we're going to tell you emphatically no. So don't eat 5 pounds of gummies in 1 week. But I think that is the beauty of our Facebook group now. So anybody who wants a community, here we are. We've developed for you. And if we continue to have the virtual, and we do have, and besides Amber and myself, I mean, for instance, Tim is a runner, and that appeals to some people. So Tim could give some running advice. Adam is a runner as well. So I think that, once you get into a community and everybody gets into the Facebook group, you don't necessarily only need to get advice from Amber and myself, but there are many people, right? There are many people. Brandon suggested.
I go to masterminds all the time, and I learn more probably information from my fellow masterminders than I do from the person that's putting it on. So yeah, definitely. We all have our genius. We all have things we've learned. So put them in there.
And I don't know if this community, this audience here is on Facebook, but at some point we could also get tips and tricks, and we could do a Clubhouse. I mean, we could do a Clubhouse show because then I think that that's something as well. Then we can do live conversations where we don't necessarily, everybody doesn't have to jump on the live stream. And I think sometimes people who are struggling with, they don't want to be on video, particularly when they don't feel as if they look good. So I think that that's a great opportunity. We should, that'll be my next thing. We're going, well, Coast to Coast is trending worldwide. We might as well have a Clubhouse. We might Instagram. We're going to have the full gamut eventually. So that's a good idea. And Justin and Brandon keep talking about slumber parties in the side gig, but maybe we could do a virtual slumber party. I don't know if we're going to be able to do an actual one, but we have goals. We can have an outing. We said we want to go on location at some point, Amber and I on location. So that would be fun.
Oh yeah.
So community, besides, what are some other ideas of community for people? Well, I want to get back to the sugar, and I want to get back to a transition. So here comes Randy. Randy's hopping on. So this will be a good opportunity.
How are you doing, man?
I just woke up.
So you're right now. Is it the sugar or the caffeine that you're talking about?
No, it couldn't be the caffeine because I have those Mio drops that have some form of caffeine in it. Plus, I have coffee, so I mean, it can't be the caffeine part of it.
All right. So, what do you put in your coffee?
Actually, I get it from I want to say. They're called Dutch Brothers, but it's like a coffee shop type thing.
So you have no other sugar in your diet whatsoever?
Mm-mm.
Run me through a typical day. What do you eat?
Well, I don't know. Do you compare, or do you say that fast food has a ton of sugar?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay, well then, yeah, that's all I have is a couple things to eat here or there with fast food. I'm starting to make, you
So
know,
it's really just the lack of the energy drinks that you've been used to drinking. It's not so much the lack of caffeine. You're just not getting those energy drinks anymore.
that could be. I don't know. Somebody at work this morning was like, "Man, you know, you haven't had soda in what 3 weeks, and I think you're starting to feel it now." I'm like, "Yeah." So I was coming off as cranky. So
that is not atypical for you to go through some mood swings as you're adjusting to it. I'm just really confused though, because you have sugar in your diet still, you have caffeine in your diet still. So I'm wondering if this is more of you're just breaking a certain addiction. You see what I'm saying?
well, the main addiction was the sodas. I mean, I was drinking like 2-liter sodas, 1-liter sodas. I think I have like 2 or 3 of them a day. The energy drinks, I was having about 2 or 3, a night. So I don't know.
Have you tried substituting with anything carbonated that is not? So I'm not saying they're going to have 100% clean ingredients, but maybe what your body is lacking is that carbonation, that fizzy feeling. It's a different sensation than when you drink any other drink. Even if the drink is flavored, it's a different sensation. I'm not real familiar. I know I have one out in my garage. I could go find it if we need to. Are you familiar with any carbonated drinks that aren't, have aspartame or anything like that in them, Joe?
I am. So you could get, and this is something that I've tried. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I'm not a seltzer person. But they do have LaCroix seltzers, and they have a variety of flavors. And there are other seltzers too, but I think LaCroix, well, most of them I believe are sugar-free, and I'm the exact opposite. I don't like the carbonated water. So what I do is I take those LaCroix sometimes and I actually dilute it with real water. But those are options too. I mean, flavored seltzers, even if you wanted to put, if they're not sweet enough, there are occasionally I will put in a stevia or a monk fruit sweetener and to give it a little bit more sweetness. I want something sweet, but those are good options as well. If it's about the carbonation, those are good options. And there's also a soda that we don't necessarily. I'm not a soda person anymore, but there's a natural soda that's called Zevia, and that doesn't have aspartame. That has natural sugars and that has no calories, and they have different flavors. Like it's not Dr. It's a little bit pricey though. It comes in a 6-pack and it's spelled Z-E-V. It's called Zevia, Zevia, and they have, for instance, and it doesn't taste as great as regular soda. I mean, but it has, like a mock Dr. Pepper, a mock Sprite, or what have you, a lemon lime, but that's an option. They don't have any artificial sweeteners, or it does, but I believe it's stevia, but it's condoned and said by weight loss who disapprove or not disapprove or discourage artificial sweeteners. So I have had it, and that you might want to try that. But it's still soda. So if you're really
I'm still struggling with what exactly he is withdrawing from. Like, what is causing the mood swings? Because other than a soft drink, which you're still getting the components of what's in the soft drink, you're still getting sugar and you're still getting caffeine in other substances. So that's why I'm thinking this is a behavioral thing, and it affects you like that. Like, it's crazy.
Well, I don't really get a lot of sugar though in those drinks. So,
but you still have sugar in the food you're eating. So you haven't eliminated sugar from your diet. So you're not going through sugar withdrawals. You still have sugar in the food you're eating.
Okay.
But what are the foods? What are the foods, Randy? I mean, how much sugar, Amber, for instance, is in a hamburger? I mean, right? I mean, what are you eating there, Randy, that we're talking about fast food?
McDonald's.
But what is your choice on the menu?
Like a Big Mac and fries. Usually a large.
So Amber, are there is there sugar really in that?
So there's 9 grams of sugar in it. In a Big Mac.
Which is low.
I just when
he was probably having.
When you go through sugar withdrawals, though, you're usually eliminating like all forms of sugar before you start having psychosomatic changes. And he hasn't eliminated sugar. Like, I'm sure that's just one. I'm not knocking your food list, you know what I'm saying? Like, but I'm sure that's just one substance. It could be. I don't know. This is new to me. It totally could be that it's, it's mind over anything. So if you feel like you've cut out sugar, it's your mind doesn't know any different. So maybe part of it is let's try some carbonated drinks. If that works, I don't know. And the other part, it might be a mindset. We just need to retrain you that you're still getting sugar. You're still getting caffeine. You've just eliminated one source. A source.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was the. I mean, go ahead, Joe.
I was going to say, I think that we spoke about it last time too, Randy. I mean, there is a behavioral component because there's such a strong association with your childhood with the drinking of soda, right? And he's had some traumatic, family-related occurrences in the past week. His mom's dog died, and all of that probably is into that because that was a source of comfort for you growing, because that was part of your routine. You would have soda in the kitchen, I believe you told me, with your family, and you've been drinking it forever. So I do believe that there is an association, a mindset association with drinking soda that's more than just a physical component.
Well, and that's not just like maybe kind of memories. If you think about just the marketing of what are these Pepsi and Coca-Cola do, it's all about they bring connection between family and friends. You know what I'm saying? They market it to us this way. It's our food industry is the same way. It's just very, very not poor marketing. It's actually genius marketing, but it's poor because it goes against our health. But so on top of that, you have a whole familial situation related to, have a Coke and smile. If you know what I'm saying, like if you do good, you can have Coke with grandpa or something. You know what I'm saying? There's deep seated. So I would definitely say we need to get some, schedule a time with Joe or with me privately, or we could do it. I just don't think this is something we need to do live. It's more personal, but to help you get past some of these mindset, because there might be other to come, but you can use the same technique. There might be other things that you get rid of in the future that might trigger something like this, but you can use these same techniques for it. Like when you do finally get rid of sugar.
Yeah, see, and I don't even, when I'm thinking of food, I don't think of sugar unless it's, candy or sweets or stuff like that. But actual food, fast food, I don't even think, about sugar, like, I don't even think of that. So,
well, that's why I said it's a lot of what you think. I mean, like I can have everybody close their eyes right now and guarantee I can make you salivate just by telling you a story, because it's our impression. It's, so we don't think that healthy food that's labeled healthy is unhealthy, but it is. You know what I'm saying? It's whatever we think it is. Our mind is more powerful than anything else.
And I think that we get conditioned. Remember, throughout the years, there have been some fads where we've been told low fat, then low carb, then in whatever era you're growing up in. Remember, coffee is good, coffee is bad, hamburger is bad, hamburger is good. All of those things have been, it's been debunked over time.
Mm-hmm.
One shout out, Randy. Brandon has his own theory. what your issue is, and I'm going to throw it up here.
No.
Coming up.
No, Brandon, no.
Saying,
hey, that's okay. We're allowed to celebrate. Maybe not in that way, but football starts in 2 weeks. I'm so freaking excited to see the University of Louisville Cardinals play again. I cannot wait. They better not disappoint this year.
So, all right, I'll take that down. So, Randy, besides that, I mean, when you're saying you're doing horrible with the food, what do you mean by that? Just because of the fast food? I think that you have to give yourself credit for all of the accomplishments you have shown, right? I mean, the soda alone is huge. The drinking more water is big. So,
yeah, the food thing, it's because I am going to fast food. You know, I mean, I just checked my weight today, and I wasn't even happy about that. You know, I've got to, you know, eat different things, but I don't know. I'm so much on a pattern with the food thing. I'm trying to fight it off, but this one just seems a little harder.
So keep in mind, did you remember that study they did where they found a hamburger like 365 days after, and it would literally almost look the same? So what I tell my clients, when you go to the grocery store, you need to shop on the outside of the grocery, which means that's where all your fresh fruits, your fresh meats, all your fresh protein, you know what I'm saying? Everything there is. The minute that you walk into one of the aisles, okay, the minute, I'm not saying you can't find healthy food there. You can. But the minute you walk into the aisle, those foods have a shelf life. Okay. So in the 80s, when the world started to speed up and we were all about convenience and we didn't necessarily have a parent at home cooking meals, we needed something that we could cook quickly. And we needed something to have a shelf life. So we added all these high fructose corn syrup, all these additives, which pretty much amount up to sugar. Sugar comes in about 250 different names. All right. So if it has a shelf life, then it's been processed, which means that chances are it's lost whatever nutrients it had when it was on the shelf, like before it got put on that shelf. That is where you run into trouble. If you just eat your fresh items, I wouldn't even go so far as to limit how much you eat of those. Just switch over to foods that have not been processed. That is the biggest switch. Preferably nothing that comes from a shelf. And if you eliminate high fructose corn syrup and partially hydrogenated oils out of anything that you do get that's processed, that's a huge, big leap. Those are two big ingredients, most commonly found ingredients, that tells you that whatever you're eating, if it claims it's healthy, it's not. It's really not.
Okay. So food shopping.
And I'd be happy if you want, we can do like a video call when you go to the grocery store. I'd be happy to walk you through. I should probably record a video of a grocery tour. That would probably be beneficial to most of us.
That'd be helpful.
I'll work on that. But if you happen to need help in the
meantime, Amber, we could do a show where we're actually in the grocery store.
So yeah, I guess I could just I could log on from my phone and go to the grocery. Yeah, I could do that. How about next step 4 for nourishment? That's what we do. Or is that too long away? Do you all want something sooner? Because next week's going to be all about finding happiness. And then we'll have 2 weeks after that to get to the first 2 steps. So you all want to wait 3 weeks, or do you want to do it sooner?
Well, we could probably do it with Randy individually on the side.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. That's a great idea, though. Thank you for bringing that up. That's going to make that step really fun. Yeah.
Well, so yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And Justin's giving us supplements, you know, that you're a great coach, Amber, and I know a lot of things, and he's giving me some advice. I should be writing notes, but guess what, Justin? I know all these things. I don't have to write them down. I have a great memory. I'm remembering everything that Amber says. So I'm on it, but thank you for the tips. um, down to the 6 minutes. Do you want to talk a little bit more about community, or do we want to give some ideas for what we're going to do next week, or how do you want to
let me just talk about community 1 second. So I know that we're getting ready to have another, I guess, pandemic, COVID thing. I don't pay attention to the news. I wouldn't know, but I think in my state, they started mandatory mask in all the schools. So I don't know. I guess it's coming with the new Delta variant, but so we might have to go back to virtual or online, which I wouldn't say ever eliminate, because that just gives you the ability to connect with a wider audience and people that you would never. I would recommend, if you can get on Clubhouse, there are some other audio apps that I haven't really given much time to. I think there's one called Green Room, and I didn't Facebook launch an audio app. And the reason why I say audio is because social media can be like what Joanne said earlier. It can be like a highlight reel. You're not getting the real authentic person because they're just posting on there what they think you want to see or what most people want to see. So when you go to audio apps, you form a genuine relationship with these people because you're getting their heart. They can only give you the fluff and buff for so long. You want a 2-hour conversation with them, and sometimes these calls can be that long. You know what I'm saying? You're going to get to the real person. So I would definitely say take advantage of the social media new outlet that we have and connect with something audio. I love Clubhouse. I can personally attest to Clubhouse and the power of communication and the relationships that I've built on there. But I'm not denying that these other ones are probably equally as good. So I would definitely get on there. They do have, this is more of a business thing, but even on Facebook and stuff, they have meetup groups that like they typically meet up in person, but they switched a lot of them to virtual. So maybe you could do that. Some community centers and places that usually do live events are doing, like, if they had like an art show, they're doing a virtual one. So I would look into as much virtual, stay as connected as possible, because like Joe said, we're not meant to live isolated. We are social creatures. We need other people. And when we tend to get depressed, and we generally isolate, which is like the worst thing you can do. I know I do it. It's the number one first thing that I do it. But stay connected, get with the community people that support your vision, that have the same goals as you, so that they can call you out on behavior that's not, like we're calling out Randy. We all have the same goals. We want to be healthy and fit. Fast food's not going to work. Like, you're not going to be able to eat, you know what I'm saying? Like, so we're just helping them. So find your community that supports your same goals. And God knows you're all on Facebook. I promise you, if you have a goal, there's a Facebook group out there for you. I promise you, there have got to be a million Facebook groups out there. Find one, join it, be a regular person, add value.
Well, you have our tips and tricks Facebook group.
Right. Yeah. Get on our
So we have that. So perfect. So great. So I want to say how proud I am of you, Randy. And so Brandon's asking a question when we're going to the shopping show. So Brandon, if that's something you're interested in, we were going to do it with Brandon. We were going to do it with Brandon privately, but maybe Amber be willing to, we can bump it up if that's something that you're interested in doing. And I don't know if we were going to do it with Randy. I thought that I'll have to think about it, or going to do it, or however we're going to work it. But Randy, I don't know. We're going to have to think about it. It might be tough because Randy's usually. Yeah, all right. I might have to fly out to Oregon and just do it live. Does Coos Bay have a grocery store, Randy?
What I was thinking is coming up with like a basic laundry list of what, like, some pillar items you need for your pantry and refrigerator, and then kind of walking. And I'm willing for ideas. That's why I'm giving you this ideas, because y'all can edit it when I can give you what you want. But then just kind of walking through the grocery store and pointing out the little things that you need to be observant of. And keep in mind the whole time it's all marketing. They're just trying to get your attention with the right marketing, but you got to read between the lines. So that's what my idea was, but I'm up for any other suggestions.
Yeah, Coos Bay.
I agree. I think that's All right. So I think Amber probably has a great idea to go ahead and shoot it, and then we can she could be live while we're watching, and then we could ask her questions, because it'd be tough. It'd be tough for you to be there, Randy, because you wouldn't know exactly where to go, where Amber can navigate right to where she's looking. So I think that's a great idea. Maybe we do that next week, and then the self-love the following week. But we can talk. Well, we can talk about it. Right, let's talk about what's best.
Let's just say it'll be in the next 2
Amber
weeks.
and I will come up with a game plan.
Before we start the next set of 7 steps, we will do this.
Perfect. And I'm going to, I know I'm having some connectivity issues. I'm getting a new computer this week too. So hopefully by next week, I'll be back in good shape. And all right, so great. As always, first of all, thank you, Randy, for hopping on. You made the show much better just by your presence. It's we want to thank you for being vulnerable and sharing your story. It really inspires somebody else. I think that that's something to be mindful of. Not only are you aiming to help yourself, but your participation is helping other people. And I think that that's something you should be proud of. And of course, I always feel healthier inside and out and more beautiful just by sitting next to Amber. So I want to thank my co-host Amber, and can't wait till next week. And of course, I thank the viewers, Justin, Amy, Adam, Brandon, Tim. Thank you all for popping on. It means a lot to us. And of course, I got to thank my man behind the scenes, Chris.
That news that we're did he say worldwide?
Trending. We're trending. We're going to.
Thank you for giving us this news.
Everybody who's on here. Yeah, that's big news. And we're going to send out we're going to start inviting everybody into the Facebook group. So be looking forward to that. It might even be tonight. I'm going to work on it, and I'm going to add Amber as an admin, and you might get an invitation from either Amber or myself, but hop in and we can start chit-chatting right from the get-go. All right. Thanks, everybody. Chris, you can play us out.